Hello, my dear Pisces. I hope you're doing well. So I go by Venetian Vibes, and I'm here to give you a love and spirituality reading for the month of October. So I've already shuffled the cards. I'm just going to shuffle a little bit more to cement them into place, and then we will get going on your reading. Now, if you don't want to wait around to watch me shuffle, I totally understand. You are welcome to fast forward. Okay. All right, my beautiful Pisces. I put 6 cards down for you. Let's take a look into your recent past to see what's been going on with you in your love life. I have the 8 of Cups in the reverse, King of Pentacles in the reverse, the Emperor in the reverse, King of Swords, 10 of Cups in the reverse. Okay. So it looks like many of you have been dealing with someone who is a very difficult person. You've been, especially recently, thinking about moving on, trying to realizing that or feeling like the situation is not really going to work out, and that this person is not able to change. They've especially have grown to be very difficult and cutting towards you. It looks like this is a person who has some sort of deep down self-defeatism going on. Like they don't believe, like underneath it all, they don't, all the sort of harshness that they exhibit and the way they have been pushing you away. Underneath it all, you know, they don't really, it looks like they don't believe that they deserve sort of any love and kindness. So they tend to reject any of your attempts to be caring towards them. So, and most recently, you've been wanting to at least take a break from this person and focus on yourself more, which seems like a good idea, given the way they're coming through for you. But you're really struggling to do that. You're struggling to focus on yourself. So you might have noticed that recently you've been very much focused on this other person, or maybe just other people in general. Focusing on making them happy and making sure that they're doing well, and not as much on your own journey through life and your own and like how you yourself can be happy, basically how you can feel fulfilled. So that's kind of what the energies that have been going on in the past for you guys. So let's look at your current spread, what we have going on here. Okay. Let me just give me a second to look at these cards. So this is we're going into October for this spread here. And so if these energies aren't quite, if you're not feeling them right now, that's because this is an October reading. So keep that in mind. But I am seeing in October an extension of kind of where you're at right now going into October, where you're not completely focused on yourself. With the Sun card here in the reverse, the Sun is about the ego. It is representing your ego, yourself. And when we say the word I, that's our ego. And it also is representing the Sun. I'm getting from the Sun right now, healthy boundaries if it were upright. But given that it's down reversed, what's coming through is, for me right now, is a lack of boundaries and a lack of that selfhood that comes from that word I. And you're thinking a lot in terms of we and them, and basically not having, and you're having a hard time distinguishing almost yourself from others, like your needs versus their needs. You're struggling to have that barrier, or that distinction between your needs and someone else's needs. So this is something to I guess address for you, because we are in this world as individuals, and I'm getting a sense that this is a harmful thing that's happening for you. It's harmful to your own sense of selfhood, and to making sure that your own needs are met. Okay, so it is kind of this Piscean vibe, and many Pisces will have this. I mean, you guys are so watery. It's so easy for you to just be so fluid and to be able to attach to other people and create these I don't want to say codependency, it can become that. In this case, yeah, I guess that word came to me because that is what I'm seeing here with these two women who are holding hands. And what I'm getting from this is, in the reversed, we're getting this sense that this is an unhealthy codependency, like they don't want to let go, basically. And if this is a specific person who you are feeling this attachment with, it might be that despite there being a level of toxicity here in the relationship, you guys still can't seem to even break apart even for a little bit. Like as we saw here with the Eight of Cups, which is the past, but is the past according to our focus here, which is October. So this is likely happening to you right now. This feeling that you can't even let go for a little bit, because the Eight of Cups is oftentimes considered a card where you go off on your little sojourn, and you break apart from other people for a minute, and you try to learn more about yourself to figure out how you can become a better you, or I guess a better way of saying that is a more fulfilled version of yourself. But then you often come back to the people in your life, and you now try to deal with them in this new way based off of what you've learned about yourself. But this process is something that you maybe have been thinking of doing, where you want to take a break, and in this case establish and figure out more about who you are and who is I versus them, and being able to focus on your needs, and then come back to the same people in your life and try to exist with them in a different, more enlightened way, even more healthy way. So that's something you've been thinking about doing, but you just can't seem to let go, even for a temporary period of time. So that is what, and then it's coming to more of a crux here. We're seeing the effects in October of you not being able to do this, to take this short-term separation. The effects of that now in October is now the sun in the reverse. It's a more extreme version of codependency. And it's you becoming less and less distinguishable between yourself and this other person in your life or the other people in your life. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling from that. Yeah. Let's see what else is going on here. Well, I am being drawn to this Ace of Swords here that sits underneath the sun in the reverse, and I like to read to you what this says. Lord of the root of the powers of air. So I also did see the King of Swords represented here in your past. So some of you might be dealing with someone who has who's air prevalent in their astrological, situation. But this is also coming through in the position of your own subconscious. So having the Ace of Swords in your subconscious means that there is a power building in you that you're not even recognizing yet. It is something that is trying to push through all of these this lack of selfhood that you're feeling, and where you are kind of disappearing within your own self. This sword is trying to push up through like your basically your core, your belly, and push through. And it sounds a little violent, but trying to cut up through everything that is a little bit stagnant energy, and it's trying to reach your conscious point so that you can feel this sense of selfhood and empowerment that this sword in this air quality wants to bring to you. For the air signs is a more masculine energy, but it's a person who, especially the King of Swords or the Queen of Swords, they're very distinguished individuals, and they're all about boundaries. So the swords can be, and I'm getting that from this energy here, I'm also picking up on the High Priestess from this card, which is Piscean energy as well, from this symbol right here, which is the High Priestess, the crown of the High Priestess. And I'm being drawn to this because this card is pulling through that King of Swords, Queen of Swords, High Priestess energies. And that's someone with boundaries, and it's someone who has this intuitive selfhood where they really know themselves and they're very connected to their own inner compass. So that is coming, that exists within you, of course it does, but it really wants to come out for you. And so it's starting to push through your subconscious in October, and it's trying to push through all this codependency that you're feeling here in your more conscious awareness. And since it is a sword, it's going to be more, if as it comes to light, if you allow it, it's going to be more of a jarring experience probably. It'll be beautiful when it unfolds fully, but to actually get there and to get to you, and I'm being drawn to this crown as well here, which the crown, like a royal, someone who is a royal figure, they are very much, traditionally for me anyway, I get this energy of someone who feels like they are the center of an entire kingdom. And I'd like to, for you, say that this kingdom is your entire self, like your entire embodiment here is your kingdom. And you need to be sitting on that throne as opposed to having these problems even distinguishing yourself from your needs from someone else's needs. So let's ask ourselves, why are their needs more important than my own? Why am I getting lost in this relationship? if we start asking those questions, start journaling, it's going to help this energy of the beautiful Ace of Swords come through in maybe a little bit less of a resistant based painful way, because we would prefer that the sword does not just come up and stab its way up through you, and it'll be and it's really just this suppressed part of yourself, like this suppressed ego that's there, that's going to want to come out, and it's going to rip its way through. I'm being a little repetitive. I'm trying to explain, like, in the best way. I mean, either way, if you consciously sort of allow the space for it, basically it won't be so painful when it comes in it. And it could also be based on the planetary alignments that really has this, like, where you can look at where the sun is going to be, where your sun sign is going to be relative to some of the planets, like what alignments are going to be made to your own sun, if that makes sense for those of you who are into astrology. Something could be happening in that sense where a planet really hits your own sun placement hard, and suddenly all this stuff, this repressed stuff comes through. Like, maybe you've used to pride yourself, for some of you, you've used to pride yourself on not having much of a strong ego. Like, even the word ego is something that you feel resistant to, and like, oh no, I'm not egotistical, I'm like the Buddha, and I'm not self-centered. You might associate having an ego with being self-centered, things like that. For a lot of you for a long time have felt like against the idea of having an ego. But this is my belief. Everybody has an ego because everybody has their own body, and we came into this, we incarnated here as a self, as a person. And the second we say we have an ego. So it's just something, and it's something that can be very healthy and beautiful, to be able to meet your own needs and know what they are, and to know yourself more. It helps you to begin to understand other people more as well. It allows for less confusion in your life. The more you understand yourself, the more you're able to ask those questions that help you understand the people around you. And your whole world becomes less confusing and less cloudy. And this is also going back to the sword. The Ace of Swords is meant to cut through any clouded thinking and misunderstandings. So once again, this air element is going to be very helpful to you if you're experiencing this sort of clouded uncertainty about things and about yourself. And you'll know if that's you. We all know when we feel unsure, and when we feel a little bit kind of confused and are going wishy-washy back and forth. Maybe it's this, maybe they're feeling this, maybe they're feeling that, but I don't really know. I don't even know what I'm thinking and feeling. And you'll know if that's your energy. This sword here is going to help with that, if you can make space for that awareness to come through. October will be a beautiful portal. If you look at this crown as a portal to your own selfhood and your own sense of being the center of your own kingdom, if you allow that space for it to, that sword, that clarity to come up and come through, you'll suddenly start to understand yourself so much more. So it really is a beautiful energy. And so we can try to lower our resistance to that coming through. I love also that I see the Strength card here, and it's Fortitude in this deck. It's a beautiful card. And the Sun card sits beneath it. The Star is more air energy. Just give me, I'm trying to feel the energies of this card, because this Fortitude card could easily be coming through as the person that you're dealing with right now in your life, your love interest. The way they're positioned, they're reminding me a lot of the Emperor card that I saw here at the beginning. So what I'm getting is that it's a twofold energy with the fortitude. So if you are in one of those codependent type of relationships, and could be for some of you difficult to even determine that that's what it is, because maybe you haven't ever known anything else. Maybe growing up your parents were codependent, so it's hard for you to even recognize that you're in a situation like this. Many married couples are actually codependent because they rely on each other for everything. And it can be in more of an unhealthy way sometimes. But what I'm getting is that for some of you, with this fortitude, the strength card here, because it's sort of like the person who you're in a love connection with is behaving in the almost exact opposite way that you are. So if you're being very focused on them and your own needs are not your focus, their needs are your focus, and you're being very selfless in a way that's really, you're just inflicting pain on yourself by doing it, by engaging with this other person like this. They're actually being the opposite of what you are being like, and they're being very self-centered. And it's almost like you guys are affecting each other this way, where you're becoming less and less of your own self and more focused on them, and they're becoming more focused on themselves. And you guys are both bringing out a natural tendency you both might have had, and it's becoming very exaggerated. So this seems like more of a twin flame connection here, where your more negative traits are exaggerating one another. So I'm getting that's what's happening here. And you'll know if that's you, right? Because you'll be like, why is this? Yeah, this person is completely becoming more and more self-centered. Like, and the more I try to meet their needs, the more needs they have. And it's like nothing I do is ever good enough. And the amount of attention I give them is never good enough. It's like they're a black hole and I'm throwing everything I have at them, and it's just not meeting, it's just not good enough for them. So that's obviously, if that's you, that's not, and it might not even be that extreme, but more of a subtle energy. Some of you are going to be on that more subtle side of the spectrum, where you just feel like you're giving a little more and a little more to try to appease this person, and they're just sort of not giving much back to you, and they seem to be becoming a little bit more self-involved along the way. And that's going to be more of that subtle manifestation of this. But even if it's subtle, these things are imbalances. And your needs are always going, your own needs are so important to be met, for you to meet. And they do matter. They matter a lot more than what I'm seeing you're appraising them with. So even if it's more of a subtle dynamic happening for you guys, less extreme, it's still going to be good to try to rebalance this situation to where you come first in your own life, because this person isn't even deserving of half of what you're giving them right now. So just that's what I'm picking up on here. But as I said, that it was a twofold energy with this fortitude card, I'm sort of getting this idea that this is also a little bit of you too. And it makes a lot of sense, because how we treat ourselves is how we treat other people. So a lot of these cards can represent a dynamic happening within yourself, as well as a dynamic that's happening with you and, the external world. And I hope that makes sense and I'm not being too complicated with things. but I'm getting for some of you that this represents sort of this lion is representative of Leo, and the Sun card is also a Leo card. So we have a lot of Leo symbology here. Leo is about the ego. It is, who are you? Do you know who you are? You know, it's so much about the self. And I was just listening to this astrologer earlier today, and she said, and this is about people who have the sun in their first house. And once again, I hope I'm not getting a little too into things here, but I thought it was really interesting. She said, there's nothing wrong about if you have the sun in your first house, it means your entire life, your main priority is yourself and your own needs. And who are you? And a person with the sun in their first house, it's all about they're exploring themselves their entire life. And they're meeting their own needs their entire life. And she said, it might sound selfish, but, if I want anybody at a party, it's going to be the person with the sun in the first house. Because they're going to be the ones who are very extroverted. They're the most willing to start up a conversation, to talk about things that they've been getting into recently, interesting experiences they've had, and they're kind of like the life of the party, right? So they are also giving in their own way. By being so much about their own experiences, they're able to actually give to other people an interesting anecdote or something to laugh about. So there's no need to feel resistant to having an ego, because there's always something giving. In every energy, there's an element of something you can give to someone else, if that makes sense. So anyway, so right, so this is about Leo energy. So I'd like if you could see this line as representing your own ego and your own selfhood. And this is you here, this woman, and you're bashing the lion in the head. For whatever reason, your conscious self is trying to beat down this sense of selfhood, the sense of ego that's within yourself. I don't know if it was from growing up. Perhaps some of you had parents that made you feel like you couldn't be yourself, like you couldn't have your needs and meet their needs. Maybe they made you feel like their needs were more important than yours, and as a child, you were always trying to meet the mother's needs or the dad's needs, when it should have honestly been the opposite. So some of you might have come from that dynamic, making you feel like you have to suppress your own self in order to be loved by your parents. So it can be something like that, a pattern you learned a long time ago, that it's like, I can't have you and have me too, so I'm going to get rid of me and then I can have you. So I'm picking up that, and for a lot of you, it's probably what I said about this card before the first message I had. You probably have that and this message. They can both resonate with you for sure. Okay. But then underneath it, once again, we have a really beautiful card. And we have the Star card. So this is more, I believe I said this already, more air energy, right? It's the Aquarian energy. Aquarians, they're the humanitarian, but paradoxically, the Aquarius, despite being often considered the sign of the humanitarian, they're also very interested in their own selfhood. They're usually very eccentric people who think for themselves, and they actually, the Aquarius is a fixed sign like Leo, so we have a lot of fixed energy here coming through, and that's probably in Pisces being mutable sign, very wishy-washy, going with the flow with as a mutable sign. That fixed energy might be something that is important for you to cultivate, and you can look that up if you want. I don't know why so I think I'm getting very astrological in this reading because this is a new deck. This is the Hermetic deck, and it's very astrological in nature. it's definitely tying astrology to tarot, which those ties already exist, but it's putting them on the cards. So it's really bringing all that knowledge up for me. So when I read with this deck, I might end up being more saying a lot of more esoteric astrological things. So if you're into that, that's great. If not, I hope you still get something out of this reading. Okay, so yes, fixed energy is going to be really great for you right now. In the Aquarius, they're also so like I was saying, yes, they're unique. They're unique and they think for themselves. They do not like to go with the crowd. They have an aversion usually to it. A lot of them might struggle with sometimes wanting to feel accepted because they know deep down that they feel so different. But overall, like from a general sense, the Aquarius is known to not really want to. They're innovators, you know. They're thinking for themselves is the point. So that's what's coming through for me here is more of that energy, that thinking for yourself, you know, knowing yourself, being different, and being fine with it, actually being really happy about it. So we're gonna try for you to really pick up on that energy in the month of October, or whenever you read this or watch this reading. You're gonna this is gonna be an important message for you. You need some of this energy in your life to cultivate it. It's in you. You just need to cultivate it a little bit more. But the stars also is saying to me that, and I mentioned this earlier, look to where the planets are making an aspect with your own sun on your chart, because that's going to be what's happening to you. And the reason this Ace of Swords is able to come up is because it is divinely guided. This is about a timing, like divine timing. The star comes to you in divine timing. So this is all meant to play out at this time for you. And the stars are in alignment for this beautiful Ace of Swords to come out, this new way of thinking. But it's not that new because it's been in you this whole time. It's just finally is coming up to the surface. Okay, so that's definitely something that's just gonna be, whether you're ready for it or not, this energy is coming through. And it'll be a lot less painful if you start to prepare for a whole new way of sort of viewing yourself in the way you interact, you know, with the world around you. It's going to be all about selfhood for you coming up, and it's going to be a really good thing. You also have this is the World card. Here it's the Universe in this deck. The Great One of the Night of Time. So it's in the reverse. Okay. The World in the reverse. So for some of you, there's an ending that needs to happen for you. And it's not necessarily an ending with any person in your life. I'm seeing it more as a ending with a way of being. And going back to this Eight of Cups, it's been here for you leading up till now. In the past, you've been thinking, God, I just wish I could just take a breath away from everything and everyone and figure out who I am. This is a journey to figure out more about yourself so you can reach a higher level of fulfillment. But it's in the reverse because you just haven't been able to do it, to go through with it. And here we have the World, which is just an extreme version of, it's an ultimate ending of something. It's something that is complete. It's a completion. And a lot of times once we reach a level of completion, we start something over. So I'm really thinking it's just more, this card is just saying, this is really time to complete a cycle here. It really, really is. What's the resistance? I think I'm seeing the symbol for Saturn here. I could be wrong. It looks a lot like it, but I don't remember the tail being this long, but Saturn is about difficulties. It's about challenges. Wherever Saturn is, it's always going to be challenging you. And challenge is a beautiful thing, because once you engage with it and you surmount it, surmount it? Is that a word? It's like you're playing a video game and you beat the level. I mean, that's what Saturn's all about. It's these life lessons. And once you beat that level and you've learned so much, and it's kind of a great thing. It's like that's what we're here to do, basically. So there's nothing wrong with having that Saturn energy coming in and bringing a challenge, but this has been something that has felt so challenging for you to really just let go of this dynamic that you've had with people, and it's seeming like you might have it with one specific love interest right now, but I'm guessing it's been a pattern for you, for a lot of you guys, throughout your life, of losing yourself within a relationship, or within, and not necessarily love relationship, but a friendship. Definitely a lot of you had this issue of codependence with a parent. And so, since it's so, for those of you where it's so deeply embedded into your way of living in the world and feeling, and basically, when a parent creates a codependent relationship with a child, it makes the child feel like their survival is dependent on whether their parent accepts them or not, and whether the child is meeting the parent's needs or not. And so this could be such a hard cycle for you to close, because it's just it's embedded in like this level of, this is what I need to do to survive. And so it's very intense. But we definitely want to turn this universe card back up like this. And you can do it, These energies are just talking about where we're at right now, and therefore projecting your most likely future. But nothing is fixed, So there's always opportunities to alleviate some of our suffering when we can see what's to come, and lower our resistance to things, make changes so that these blows aren't so strong, if that makes sense. Okay, 7 of Cups. And it's in the reverse. I'm really being drawn to this Lord of Illusionary Success down here. So, my dear Pisces who loves to, envision, to dream, can sometimes live in, I'm sorry if you hear that sound in the background. That's my roommate talking very loudly. Anyway, so I'm getting that a lot of you guys are experiencing this sort of illusions to what success means in your life, and it's going back to this codependency you feel. So how are you lying to yourself, basically? How are you lying to yourselves about what is a successful connection and what makes you successful in life? And if someone accepting your love and the things that you are giving of to them, and it's them accepting it and receiving that, and if that is how you feel successful, I think that might be causing some pain in your life. So it might be good to look at what do I view as being successful in my life, because it might be a little bit misguided. And I say that with no judgment at all. But we are also going back from I think you've been here before with the Seven of Cups. Oh, now I don't even remember. I think this was in the reverse. So I think you've been here before. Coming up to this crux in your life where you are able to make a choice to maybe move on from something, and you just haven't been able, you just weren't able to do it until basically the universe forced the change to happen for you. And this is in many regards in life, not just relationships, but maybe jobs that made you unhappy. Things like dynamics where you're having to give a lot more than you're receiving, and that can happen a lot in a job. So if you can point to any situation like that in your life that you were in, and your resistance to getting out of it until basically the universe had to just pull you out of it. Maybe you got fired, maybe just like the other parties involved somehow ended things. And so, or there was an unforeseen event that forced you sort of to move away from something, if that makes sense. Basically, that's the only way things have ended for you when you were in this type of dynamic. So right now, we're wanting for it not to come to that again. Where it looks like you were so close here. We have a 7 here in October, but for the past, and probably what's going on right now as I do this reading, you were at an 8. So you would actually are more progressed now as I do this reading than where you're going to be in October, which means you were really, really close to trying to focus more on yourself and to disengage with other people in your life, to really try to learn more about yourself. And you were so close and just couldn't go through with it. So now you're back in October, back down to a 7, which is the number associated with challenges. And then the 8 that comes after is meant to be, the 8 is an adjustment and oftentimes an over adjustment of what has been happening, the challenges and the low points you were at with the 7s. So now you're back to the 7s, and that's okay. It's just and it is in the reverse. So it's, for me, that represents something that's been like a long time bleeding heart. It's just something that has been there, like a chronic pain for a long time. This resistance to making these choices, to move out of a situation where you're having to give away so much more than you're getting. Okay, so we're going to want to transform these energies. But it is, like I said, coming through for you with this 8 of Swords. It's really not. And it could be another one of those Hail Marys, or where the universe is just forcing this change to happen for you. But it feels a little bit more, it feels a little different from the past, a little bit more like it's really coming from within you. And so it really is going to feel very different than other things you've experienced in the past. I think that's all I'm feeling for the messages here. So far, the guidance that I'm getting for you is to think of how all the times where you felt like you've had to basically put yourself on the side, suppress your own needs in order to feel like you belong with someone, or in order to give or meet someone else's needs. And if you can maybe journal this, that would be really helpful, because you're going to want to be less resistant for when this energy just comes through. Just to make it as little painful as possible, because if you keep on that very strong resistance and try to really force to maintain a codependent relationship, when the stars align and everything happens, to push this sword up through into the light, into the ego, or I mean, it is the ego trying to come up and I guess show you the light is what I mean. It will be like it'll be like a tower moment, a little bit hard to process. So we want to start to allow space for that to unfold, and it'll be a much more smooth transition for you. So I'm gonna pull two more cards just to get any. I almost feel like I don't need to do this for your guys' reading because I just feel like I just got all the messages I need. So I'm guessing that what comes out here is gonna just be reaffirming what we already have. But let's just see if there's anything else for you guys. Okay, 9 of Wands in the reverse. Let's get one more. Okay. Okay, that's hilarious. Well, the Sun in the reverse again. So yeah, reaffirming what we've just talked about. I wish I would have done that shuffling in the screen so you could have seen it come out, but the way I have things set up right now, it's really like I have to kind of squish my hands here to do it on the screen. But trust me, it did come out. And so we have these two matching each other. I don't need to say more about that. You know exactly what this means. You need to be like this little naked kid on the white pony in this deck. This is really putting forth the image of selfhood in the sense of your core self, your child self, like what we were when we were born was our most pure form of ourselves. And then all experiences did was diminish and diminish and diminish because it's in the reverse. And with the white pony, it's just about pure, this is me, my pure, self, without anything else confusing me, distorting me. This is just me, and so that's what the energy coming through from this deck is. So we're really you're gonna really work on that. Okay, do you promise? And then the 9 of Wands. Yes, so the 9 of Wands, this is someone who has been in a lot of pain. They feel like they've been fighting their entire lives. They feel guarded. I'm feeling like this is you. But I think it's also, if you guys are in a twin flame relationship, this is how your person is as well. So you guys are mirroring each other. So I'm going to speak as though it's you, but remember that it is probably also going to very much represent the person that you were dealing with. But so this person, I think that your selfhood, like if this were like that with this sun here, this sun is like, imagine it behind all of these wands. I think that's what I'm feeling from this card, is all these wands are put up like a fence, and you put them up throughout your life in order to kind of guard your own sense of self, your own ego. And I know that word for a lot of you is you're gonna feel resistant to that word, but that's what you've been guarding this your whole life, and it's hard and it's difficult. This person is known as the wounded warrior. It hasn't been easy for them. They have perceived the world as a battlefield. And for you, you perceived it that way a long time ago. And your way of coping that you learned was to be kind, be giving. The more I give, the less likely I am to be hurt. So that was your coping mechanism. And it's been challenging and it's draining you. This person is drained. So a lot of you are feeling very drained from having coped this way your whole life, having engaged with people, trying to subvert threats, perceived threats from others by being extremely giving and kind in nature, and even becoming codependent with some of these people who are just going to end up kind of taking your energy in a way. So it is in the reverse here for me. I'm getting this vision that it's going to be getting to the point where it's just too much to even bear anymore. You're drained. You're tired of digging these wands into the dirt, this protective shield. You're just tired of keeping it up, and you're feeling less and less unsure of who you are, of course, because you're spent your whole life blocking that. And so it's time to really let that down, let that barrier down. Gotta crush that barrier, basically. And I think in October that's what's kind of gonna be happening for you. I have one more card to pull. It's from the Dreams of Gaia Tarot, and I'm gonna read it to you, and that's gonna complete our reading. I love the back of this, by the way. It's really pretty. I'll try to do it on screen, but it's kind of hard. Oh, beautiful. Okay. And you got another ace here. This time, in this deck, the aces are dragons. So beautiful. And this is the Ace of Fire. So I love seeing another ace here sitting right on top of this Ace of Swords. So I'm going to read this for you. Okay. So, like all of the Ace cards, the Ace of Fire represents the promise of new beginnings and opportunities. But unlike the other aces, this card also represents action. It represents the power for and the necessity of taking the initiative and actively pursuing our goals. It is about taking advantage of the opportunities we are presented with, as opposed to thinking about it. It is good to have a goal, to dream, and to make plans, but the Ace of Fire lets us know that now is the time to move beyond research and planning. It is time to take the real steps toward getting things underway. It is time to follow through on inspiration and create. It is time to weave your future into being. Time for you to begin your active participation. The Ace of Fire also symbolizes inventiveness. Take an old idea and make it better, or create something new and unique. Whatever you seek to do, you can now make it your own and imbue it with your unique perspective and imagination. So what I'm getting there is when it speaks of your unique perspective and imagination, this is talking about your creative drive. And I'm thinking that that is going to be your reward for doing this work and allowing your selfhood to come through and to putting yourself first. You're going to be awakening your creative force that for some of you might have also been probably repressed. And so you'll find yourself feeling more creative. And also being creative is going to be really helpful with this whole process. Like if you decide to do something creative, it's going to allow that sword energy that I've been talking about for like hella long now, like a lot. It's going to really give that space to come through for you. So I think your gateway to allowing all of this new energy and all this suppressed stuff to come up is through being creative. Okay, so I have a little bit more here. Now, rather than following tradition, do something in a way that offers a new approach. You are surrounded by so much potential at this moment. The Ace of Fire represents passion and excitement. It is a time full of energy and life. Take advantage of this moment and the power it brings. Great. And at the end, is calling on the time, how good of a time it is right now for this new passion and energy, and that's coming through in the star, with the star card as well. Like the stars are aligning, and this, like, the time is now, is in October, for all of this change to happen for you. So I think it looks very promising for you guys, and I really hope that this reading helped and it resonated. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section below, and if you did love this reading, I hope you did, then go ahead, hit that like button. I would really appreciate it. This is a new channel that I just started, and I would really, it really helps me to feel like that you are enjoying what I'm putting out into the world. So, and I really hope that you did. This was a beautiful reading, much longer. It went much longer than I was intending, but they might all be that way for this coming month, because there's so much going on in the world right now, and there's so much change that we're all going to be going through in this current cycle that we're in. And for you, it looks like, I love seeing these aces here once again. It's really beautiful. And yeah, just be creative, okay? Just journal, be anything that's self-expressive is going to be just so liberating for you guys right now. And then you might be able to actually turn this Eight of Cups upright. Once you find that little spark within you, you might then have the kind of the courage to take a step back from the people in your life and to start that little sojourn that you've been really thinking about doing for a while. So once again, yeah, I hope you loved this reading, and I wish the best for you guys. Okay, bye.